Hey everyone, this is Wyatt, the host of the Second Year Run podcast, and we don't have a proper episode for you guys this week because we didn't have any proper classes. Instead, I'll be compiling a best-of compilation from the past couple of episodes of the podcast, and including some bits that weren't included in the original episodes. Hope you guys enjoy.
Hi, welcome to Sugar Lab.
You know what? This might be a good opportunity to do a quote-unquote ad break.
Ad break?
Yeah.
An ad break. This podcast is brought to you by...
brought to you by what was the cafe name?
By the Fuse Cafe.
The Fuse Cafe.
The Fuse Cafe in BCIT in the electrical building is this podcast has been brought to you by. Go there and get your $17 burger and fries and pop or whatever it was.
You just gave free advertising to BCIT.
Yeah, well, this whole podcast is free advertising for BCIT, basically.
In a way, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we're using their equipment and whatnot. I heard we gotta kind of... We're recording in one of the classrooms. It's not so much of a classroom though. It is like a proper kind of like a recording booth. There's like a nice little like plexiglass that can look into another room where you'd have your talent to record into. There's a couple monitors in this room here. There's some weird like not quite stairs. Like I don't know what they are. They're just kind of like weird leveled. They're too big to be stairs, you know what I mean? But I guess the idea is that you could have the people sitting here and then look on the monitors and see what the instructor's like talking about and whatnot. But it's just like, I don't know. This is kind of a strange room.
It is.
But it was one of the few rooms that actually have two microphones because most of them are just a single microphone.
Yeah, just the one. It's basically like your typical audio recording booth for like voice actors and stuff.
It's nice. It's soundproof in here too, which I kind of like. Although not totally. A little bit of the electrical hum comes through.
Yeah.
I'll be sad when we do graduate and we don't really have access to this building anymore because at BCIT there's a specific broadcast building and it's got all the kind of there's like the radio tower the radio tower is on a separate building I believe, but it still connects to because it's higher in elevation, but it still connects to this building here for them to do all the radio show that they have, which is pretty cool. There's like two studios for like live events that you can record in here. There's editing bays and whatnot. There's a bunch of like little recording booths. Like this is kind of like a control room, but then there's also a couple rooms where it's just like one microphone and one computer and you can record yourself and whatnot. So there's a lot of space here. And I really like it. It has a real good kind of creative atmosphere. Like, there's a lot of stuff that you can do. You know what I mean? Like, you can do a lot of things. You're not just kind of limited in doing only, like, one or two things. Like there's, like, studios that exist out there, but then usually it's just that. Like, it's just, like, a warehouse with, like, a flat floor that you can put flats up and whatnot or whatever. They're not going to have recording booths for you to do recording in. They're not going to have edit bays for you to do your editing. Those are all going to be separate kind of buildings and whatnot that you kind of have to hop all around. But here, it's just all one thing. And I really like that.
Yeah, I mean, there are three programs in this building, right? So it's like they need to accommodate for like the studios for us and then the radio stuff for the radio people. And then I don't know what the journalism people do. They go on the computers, I guess, and they research articles and they come up with stories. I don't know.
They're probably also doing the recording as well too, like they're recording the lines and whatnot.
I'm sure they are. I'm sure they're recording.
Much like how we're doing.
I feel like I don't know if it's true if the journalism students collaborate more with the radio people. They might,
maybe,
because we don't really see them that much. We saw them once during practicum, and that was it.
Which I'm kind of bothered by because I feel like we should like work with them a little bit closer because we saw some of the stuff that they were shooting. And we were just like, what? Like it wasn't like horizon properly. Like it wasn't set up right. It was very yeah. And I was
we're the tech people, right? So
yeah.
They rely on us.
Yeah, I feel like it'd be better because that's the thing too, right? Is that you'd have your reporter and then you would have your cameraman or woman or person, but they'd still be there. Like they'd still be two separate like entities. You know what I mean? It wouldn't just be all one person doing it all. Or maybe it is nowadays. We're not the ones taking the journalism program. We're not journalists.
No. But we still do a lot of creative work.
We do.
Yeah.
At least we try to. Tempting.
Visit magicstronghold.com or go to 1-853.
I never had to pay for Disney Plus. The same buddy that I was mentioning earlier, I borrowed his Disney Plus for the longest time, And then I have some screen caps on my phone.
Yeah.
I was trying to just watch like A New Hope on Disney Plus over in Canada, and for some reason the version that was on Disney Plus was French. Like the titling was like when the iconic crawl. It's like Star Wars: A New Hope. Les rebellions is les fils les attack from les... Like, that's what it was saying throughout the crawl. And I was like, what the this is not how the movie starts. So I thought it was just a language thing. So I'm like, okay, well, maybe it's like, this is a French dub. It makes sense. I guess we're in Canada. Okay. So I click over to make sure it's like English or whatever, and it's still French. And then there's like a Spanish option, and I click that one, and that's which is the Spanish option. We go back to the English, and it's still... The opening crawl was in French. The rest of the movie was in English, though. Like, that's the weirdest thing. Like, I don't understand it. I don't get it. For some reason, the opening crawl was in French, and the rest of the movie was okay. I wasn't even, like, a minute into the movie, and immediately I was going to, like, the support, and it was like, you guys gotta fix this.
Yeah!
Like, this is ridiculous.
That's crazy!
So I got, so knowing this, and I was a little high at the time, too. So I was trying to watch Star Wars.
Yeah.
And I couldn't fucking watch it because it was in French. But I get on like the support or whatever, and I'm just like, I just need to tell somebody at Disney Plus that this is the case, because maybe they don't know.
Okay.
Maybe they're just not aware that this is happening, and it's like the wrong file. It's just that's it that needs to get transferred. Just switch the file over. So I get on or whatever, and I'm with this guy, and I don't remember his name, but I have it saved on my phone somewhere.
Yeah.
And I get on there, and I'm talking to the guy, and I'm just like, hey, buddy, it's the wrong version of Star Wars playing. He's like, what do you mean it's the wrong version of Star Wars? He's like, I mean, like, go to Disney Canada and try to play A New Hope, and it's going to be in French. You need to fix it. The funniest line to me, though, was just that the guy, in response to, like, me saying the thing that was the issue, he was like, as quoted by the movie The Lion King, Hakuna Matata. And I was like, this is the most fucking, like, corporate, like, thing I've ever experienced. It's trying to be, like, nice and playful.
That's so funny!
Yeah, but it's just, like, as quoted by the movie The Lion King. Like, why? Like, dude,
as
like...
quoted by the... If somebody... No, because imagine that you're just talking... You're like, hey,
like
dude...
a normal conversation. Well, as quoted by the movie Forrest Gump, laughing
Life
like
is
a box of
the
chocolates.
Yeah. Dude, but that's so fun. Because, like, I genuinely wonder... But also just imagine, like, Disney, like, the support team, and they're like, hey, what do I do in this situation? Well...
As quoted by the movie, Hakuna, like, I'm sure that's what it was. Like, that was, like, the automated reply
so
that popped up
funny.
that you just, like, the guy clicked on or whatever. What kind of freaked me out a little bit more, though, was that, like, I kind of, like, expressed what the issue was, and then, like, at the end, he was like, okay, and can you tell me just the last four numbers on the credit card used for the account? And I was just like...
Why?
Yeah, why do you need to know that? He's like, oh, just to, like, verify or whatever. And I'm like, well, I don't have that information because it's not my credit card. And he's like, well, how do you have access to the account? It's my stepbrother's. It's my stepbrother's account, and so I don't know his credit card information because it's not my.
Yeah.
It's my stepbrother's account. So why would I know his credit card? Meanwhile, I'm texting my buddy like right away. I'm saying this, and I'm like, dude, if anybody from Disney Plus message you asking if you have a stepbrother, just say yes. Just be cool.
Yeah.
And just say yes, just in case. So it was, and then my conversation with the Disney Plus guy ended.
Our game nights have gotten pretty dull.
Once you've seen a show enough, you realize, okay, like more of the same stuff. You get used to the tropes. Mm-hmm. So if they want it, like they could produce more shows, but then there's that thing of like, quit while you're ahead. So
if there's one show that I think should have had less episodes, this is like pulling this out of my back pocket. I don't know why I'm thinking of this now, but Jessica Jones on Netflix, that first season.
Okay.
Oh my God. I love Daredevil. Okay. Mm-hmm. I love Daredevil so much. First season, amazing. Great. Loved it. Awesome version. Great adaptation of the character. Jesus Christ. Jessica Jones just went on for too long. It's like, I got the point of it. I understood with Gravemind, because they couldn't even call him the Purple Man. They had to call him Gravemind. And they're also making fun of like the jewel costume and like whatnot and being like, that's stupid. And I'm like, dude, come on. This is about superheroes and comic books. Have a little bit of fun with it. And I like Kristen Ritter. She's like a great actress. I kind of want to check out the new Orphan Black thing they're doing just because she's in it. I'm like, sure, why not? Maybe it's good. I don't know. But like when I came to that first episode, the first season of Jessica Jones, it was like the last 4 episodes of the season, of the first season. And it was after you already kind of learned about Gravemind and his parents and whatnot. And then it was like, I saw that episode and then I was like, all right, I'm just skipping to the last Because I knew at that point, I was like, these next 3 episodes don't matter. They don't. I just need to get to the end. I just need to see. And it didn't, because there was no additional context that I needed for the last episode. After learning the history between his parents and whatnot, I just skipped straight to the end. I was like, boom, I got it. They do all the planning for how they're going to catch Gravemind in this episode. They execute it in this episode. They do it all in the episode. Great. I don't need to see the last 3 episodes.
It sounds like, I've heard a few people say that, I read this book, and then I'm like, you read this book so fast, like how did you do that? And then they're like, oh no, I read this, and then I skipped a section. I knew. Like it's always like fascinating to me how somebody understands, okay, like this section is skippable and this is not. In episodes it makes sense, because you get a sense of the plot engine, and then you know that if your interest as a viewer is waning or like going away. The finale is always the episode where you have to tie things up, and then after a certain point, if you're not caring about what goes on, I guess that's the reason you skipped it.
Exactly. It was like when she was like showing him around the neighborhood and being like, you do your powers for good, and he is kind of like learning a little bit. You're like, oh, maybe things can change, and then she like backstabs him or whatever, and is like gets him caught and captured, and then he escapes anyways, because it's the fucking point of the show. But it was at the moment it lost me. I was like, okay, you had a good thing going. This was actually working. Like, sure, it's a relationship between an abuser and his victim. Like, that's ultimately what it was. So maybe, and it's David Tennant as well, and I can't really hate him. But, like, there's that part of it where maybe he's not garnering any sympathy. Maybe he's not, like, even like Kingpin in like the first thing of Daredevil, he's still a bad guy, but you can tell there's a little bit more behind him than just power control that he's wanting. Oh, maybe Gravemind the same? No, he's not. He's just in flat in one note as ever, and it's just like, I don't know, at a certain point with like villains and whatnot, if it's like Ronan in Guardians of the Galaxy, where it's like, if you're really giving like Ronan versus Thanos in terms of like a character thing, where Ronan is just the executioner, he just wants to kill people, he wants to get rid of the Kree, he wants his empire to run and whatnot. That's the only thing he cares about. So as a villain, it's not that engaging. At least with Thanos, he's got the whole 50% thing. So he's like, there's a moral question of whether or not this is an actual good act or not. And he's still very motivated by the idea that this is a good act that he's doing. He believes that his actions are right and just, but as everybody can see, he's like, no, you're killing people. That's not right or just at all. But that's what makes it compelling, because he's a very driven character. How far is that going to drive him? Why is he bringing Gamora to this oh no, like there's very much that behind it, and we really learned that he does have a true love for Gamora, which makes him that much more of a monster in the end, because he did truly actually have a care and empathy for something, but his goals were so hardened that he didn't give a shit and did it anyways. It makes him interesting and engaging. And then Gravemind is just like, I can abuse women, and that's my superpower. And I'm just like, I don't know, man. I wouldn't personally do it. That's not what I would do. I would maybe just become like a real good salesman or something. I would just sell people like cars and make bank that way. I don't know if I would do that.
And also like you said, Kingpin is also like Vincent D'Onofrio, right?
He is, yeah.
If you have somebody or like a character or a situation that sticks out, I mean that character can be carried on by the property and other movies and shows, right? Because I think Kingpin is also relevant. He's still an active character in the MCU right now,
he is,
right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what happens. Like, just adding to your point.
You gotta go to Thrift to Fakey.
Oh, what's up, kid?
Here, so a little Easter egg into the podcast, because this happens every time. This computer that we're recording on, if you leave it alone for a little bit, it just it freaks out, and it
it's like, oh,
yeah, it looks like it's gonna explode or something. But it's just letting you know.
I went oh. I don't know if you heard that. I just went oh.
Yeah, there's just a little break in the pause there. Anyways.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Anyways, I think I would have picked up on it faster. I personally think I'm a fast learner, not to brag, but I think I have a natural ability to pick up on stuff if I'm really interested in it. And yeah, I kind of maybe regret not doing more stuff last year, because they mostly put me in higher positions, director, AD. For the commercial I was director, for the comp project I was AD, for the Science World, I was director.
Mm-hmm.
You know, bigger roles. And so when I see everyone running around with cables and plugins and whatever and stuff, I'm just sitting there in my little video village, just kind of, I'm chilling. And then yesterday, actually, was my very first time as AC, second AC. And they had me put on this really heavy belt. Well, it wasn't heavy until they needed me to carry a bunch of extra batteries because that's my job. But I didn't know. Like, that was my first time being AC.
Like
and
ever? Like you never did?
Like
any
ever, yeah.
camera
I've
stuff
never.
In the first year, you
Yeah,
never.
no. So I was struggling since I'm not like I don't know what I need to do, and I'm just waiting for someone. And it's not. I'm supposed to be getting orders from the camera op, and I'm getting orders from the DOP, and I'm like, okay, I'm so sorry. Like, I'll do this, I'll do that. Ended up, I had like 5, you know, those huge camera batteries for the FX6 in my pocket, and every time I sat down, I felt like 15 pounds heavier, and I would have to like to get up. And then
I like a little. You didn't. No one can see it, but she also did like a little action to like get up.
Yeah. And then yesterday we were on set for 10 hours. So just imagine that huge belt, and then I had like a huge sling thing with tape, and then this.
You were wearing like a sweater earlier in the day, and that came off like
I
pretty
did.
quick by like probably
How
the second
did you
shot.
know?
Because I just remember. This is gonna sound weird, but I remember seeing you in the sweater, being like, "Oh, she's gonna get hot in that," and then sure enough, yeah.
Oh, did you see the photos in class, or like what?
No, I just remember because for the listener listening in, me and Kiana were on set of a student production that we were doing yesterday.
Were you there?
Huh? Yeah, I was there.
You were there?
I was director.
Oh, right!
What do you mean? Like, what are you talking about? I was there the whole time. What are you talking about?
Right.
I sure hope I was there. Like, I don't know who's sitting in the director
Oh,
chair.
I'm so sorry. I forgot.
It's okay. I was only directing. No, but...
But I could have done better if I wasn't way down. Literally.
And if you also had, like, a proper belt on.
Yeah.
As well.
Oh,
That was the other thing. Yeah.
I had...
You were, like, looking at it, and you're like, you had this big, like, belt that just, like, wrapped around, like a clip-on belt.
But
And then your
was-
pants were already kind of, like,
Yeah,
falling. And then you
they're-
put the batteries inside, and then it's
It's
everything.
just falling
is
even more.
Yeah.
I am so sorry, by the way, that I forgot you were director. Now
No, it's okay. It's okay.
Because I was more focused on the people I was actually, like, around with.
Sure,
So
yeah.
I was with Jasmine and Matt.
Mhm.
And then my brain just blanked out, and then I just forgot who I was with that day.
It's okay. I think that's happened a couple times with me, too, that I just forgot that, like, somebody was there. And it was like, we talked. We ate lunch together. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, shit, right? Yeah, I forgot.
Like,
Sorry,
yeah,
man.
my bad. Yeah, now that I think about it, you were there, and you were director, and wow, I'm so impressed you were director.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for feeding my ego. I appreciate it.
Super refreshing, too.
Actually, do I think what is it? Annie Hall.
Yeah.
I think I do want to watch that.
Yeah.
Because isn't that also with Christopher Walken's got a role in that?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, because I've seen the scene and it looks good. It looks funny, and I'm a big comedy guy, so I
Yeah.
like to just like.
Yeah, same. I love comedy.
Yeah, just try to watch comedy, even if I don't necessarily find it funny. But it's just like, okay, so
But
like, what
it's
is the setup?
It's about
What is it going
understand
for?
how it works.
Yeah,
it's about
for sure.
I will even watch a shitty comedy movie, and I'm like, okay, why does it work? Oh, that's funny. That works. Oh, this joke doesn't land. Oh, that one lands. So it's about, I mean, there are things that I love to watch that people just hate. Like I love Zoolander.
Mm-hmm.
I
really like Zoolander.
I
too,
love
though. Not Zoolander 2, but Zoolander. as well.
Zoolander 2 is kind of sucky, just because
yeah.
I don't know what happened, but it's not as good. But Zoolander 1 was classic, and then I also watched Adam Sandler has a movie called Don't Mess with Sohan.
Oh, yeah.
Love that film. So good. I like everyone. If I see it on Netflix, I will play it and I'll watch it. I'll finish it. But I really like character. I really do like Sacha Baron Cohen, of course, does character all the time. But at the end, like newer stuff is a little bit just because he's done it so many times and then got a little bit boring. And then also because he got into serious role and then he pulled it off. So I'm like, good for you, you know. But yeah, comedy is always something I love watching. Rom-com, whatever. I watch so much comedy on Netflix. They started to recommend me the French ones. So there's no English one left. So I stopped watching weird Canadian, like French
like Bad Cop, Bone Cop.
Oh yeah.
And then I'm like,
Wait,
it's
no.
actually pretty good.
Yeah, Bad Cop, Bone Cop is actually like a good movie.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah.
There's even a sequel out, I think.
Yeah, Bad Cop, Bone Cop 2. Yeah.
Do it's Bad Cop, Bone Cop Do.
Do, exactly. So I was like, oh, it's pretty good. It's very good. But I'm pretty sure I spent way too much time watching that stuff. I really need to stop this. Like I have everything, right? I have Netflix, I have Amazon, I have Crave, I have Disney. There's too many. I always thought there will be a time when I just run out of stuff to watch, but that never happened because there's so many things going on.
Yeah, there's so much out there.
Yeah.
I need to watch more romantic comedies because, like, I don't know, I'm just usually off-put by rom-coms.
Yeah.
I feel like that's also kind of like...
But if they have a better,
way.
like a different concept, I think it's better. Like
Yeah,
Crazy Stupid Love, it's like...
Yes.
It's still a rom-com, but it's so different, right? And then you watch that, you're like, oh, wow. Oh, fuck, buddy. I didn't see that coming, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And I think, too, when it's, like, when you get so used to, like, one comedy type. Like, I used to be, just back in, like, high school and whatnot, I used to be like, oh, dark comedy's the best.
Yeah.
Edgier the better. That kind of a thing. And then you get so used to it, you're like, oh, well, this is just all the same joke.
You kind of become numb, yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's all there's no actual, like, punchline anymore. Yeah. It's literally just the same bit.
You have to jump in between to appreciate them, I think. Yeah.
Exactly. So I think that, like, I need to start watching just more romantic comedies because overall they're trying to be funny. Like in the pursuit of love, there is a lot of comedy that happens to a person. So I just never thought about that.
I mean, there's one on Netflix called Kominsky Method. It's starring Michael Douglas.
Oh, okay.
And then him now though.
Yeah,
so it's about like all these like old guys, and then it's a pretty good comedy, and then it's produced by one only Chuck Lorre.
Okay, yeah.
The guy.
Yeah.
Who did all the rom-com. Yeah. So, but yeah, it's pretty different, and then I quite like it.
And now we've got new games and new friends to play with.
Oh my gosh, we're doing Foley. Like my heart just like it went crazy. And sorry, I should actually be saying an actual topic why I'm talking about this. Foley is basically the art of sound. That's the best way I could put it. It's basically when you record, your footage for a movie or even a show, you're not always going to even actually heck video games. A lot of content media don't have audio to describe what's going on in the scene. If it's something I would do after this, and if it's broadcasting I really want to go into, but if I could do something else, it would definitely be Foley. And that's something like I haven't been the best audio person, but I'm trying to be better. That being said, Foley is something I know I'm good at, and I actually put passion into. So we're doing currently a project for Foley. We're redoing the sounds of the scene where he's making the machine in the Cloudy versus Meatballs. Yeah, let's go. Ding ding.
It's like Godzilla versus Kong. I'll watch that movie.
Cloudy and a Chance of Meatballs. That movie is also really good. I think it's really neat. But we're redoing the sound for the entire scene. It was all the dialogue, and it was so much fun. We're working with Haley with that one. She, like I said, she's dope. She was very practical on it, but she also was like, Connor, just go crazy. And she let me just go crazy with the audio. And yeah, no, that's like, I think my favorite part about it was doing the explosion. Like, I remember saying, you guys can use like the online effects. I'm like, no, screw that. I'm making my own explosion sound effect. He's like, well, don't go blow up anything. And I was like, optional? He's like, no. I'm like, damn it. I'm like, okay. So really quickly here, the way I did it, this is for all you guys, so you guys can quickly do this while he's not looking. Get a metal bar, go by a nearby dumpster, and just chuck it as hard as you can while recording the audio on your phone. Don't use an actual mic, because what I figured out was when using a mic, you actually get way more audio than you want. Using a phone, it for some reason it compresses the audio regardless of what you do, and it was perfect. So if you want open area, obviously you wouldn't use your phone, use a mic, but because the explosion's in enclosed space, I was like, this is perfect. I got half the audio already done here. All I gotta do is make it sound more with oomph to it. And so we learned how to use Pro Tools. Avid Pro Tools, so much fun. I think I said my disdain for Avid at some point in the past. I still don't like Avid. I actually have now come around to Pro Tools. It still sucks. I'm gonna be honest with you. It works your laptop or computer to death unless you have a full-on station for it. And if that's the case, then I would actually recommend getting Pro Tools and learning that. But if you have a laptop, I recommend Audition. It just works better in my opinion. Either way, yeah, that's why I used to do the audio. There you go. I don't have a transition to the next part, Wyatt.
Let what you wear represent you.
For me, like, this is a weird story to be telling, but for me, my like horror awakening was the 2017 It movie. It's like not a very good movie, to be honest with you. Like, it kind of sucks.
Oh, does it? Okay.
But when that came out, I was 15, and I hated horror. I'd never never really sat down and watched a horror movie. And I went to the theater with like a couple of my buddies, and they were like, "We want to see it," and I was like, "Okay, I'll come, sure." And I can remember like sitting in the theater, like holding my hat over my eyes and like shaking and like being so terrified. And I'll never forget that, because like that, like the fact that I was able to feel that way off of a film is like, to me now, is like so inspiring that like you can like make something that like makes someone physically vibrate. Like, that's insane to me. And I look back on it like now, like however many years later, I'll do like 7 or 8 years later, and I can recognize like, okay, well, this film's kind of boring, like not great, but like that experience in that moment of seeing like a horror film for the first time was so eye-opening. And then after that day, I was like, I think it took me like a couple days, and then I was like still thinking about it, and I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Like, these movies are insane. And then I started kind of my journey with horror. Yeah.
Would you say that you're like, because I feel like there's like can be like a big difference sometimes in like someone who's like, I don't know how to put this, but like a film enjoyer versus like a horror enthusiast. Like, do you enjoy horror in like other avenues? Like with Halloween just being the other day, is that something where you like, oh, I really love that like spooky and like creepy and that eerie feeling? Or are you looking at it more of someone just like a person who enjoys film who's like, no, I just really appreciate the art and what can go into it?
No, I think I'm just more of a film enthusiast.
Right, okay.
God, that's such a nerdy thing to say.
You know what I mean, though, right? Like, there's some people who will like take it to like another level, and
like Hot Topic kind of
kind
guy.
of, yeah,
I'm not a
yeah.
Hot Topic guy.
No, that's fair. It's just that I thought I'd clarify for the podcast. Yeah. Just in case anyone listening, doesn't know Mr.
Although
Hart.
I have bought, what are they called? Studio Ghibli socks from Hot Topic one time because they were really cute, and I like wearing funky socks.
Well, that's pass. Yeah.
So does that make me a Hot Topic person?
Ugh.
I bought them one time.
If they were Invader Sim socks, I might have said yes, but I think because they're Studio Ghibli. Well, what movie was it? Was it My Neighbor Totoro? What was it?
It was what was it? It was Totoro, and it was Kiki's.
Okay, yeah, that's classy.
Kiki's like one of my favorite movies ever.
Rumor has it, I mean, you're supposed to be directing Jason's film, right?
Yeah, that's what they've been saying. Yeah.
What about Jason though? Like, has Jason come up to you?
Yeah. Well, first he came up to me and he said, "Do you want to be the editor on my thing? Because I know you're like a good because I know you understand comedy, and I think for the timing, that's going to be really important. Is if I choose a good editor, because however it gets filmed, that's how it gets filmed. But if the timing is off, then the whole thing. So I was like, yeah, sure, I'll do it because I like editing enough anyways. I understand Avid and Premiere, and I'm like, yeah, I'll do it.
So you're going to be editor? Ooh.
Yeah,
Ooh.
and then like a week or so later, he was like, actually, can I get you to be my director? And I was like, well, hold on now. Which one is it? Which one are you looking for?
I think you'd fit in as a great... I think if Jason does editing and you just be his...
I think that's what his
just
plan
be by
is.
his side, you know?
Yeah, I think that's what a lot of the writers are doing.
Yeah,
I think you've mentioned it. I think Sandy's going to be doing that too. And then I think, same thing with Jason.
I was going to be DOP. That was like, I was going to be that no questions asked because obviously it's fun to make your own shots. But then like after talking to people, getting second opinions again, I'm like, wait, I think editing's better because like my style is very distinct and like, you know, like non-linear types of thing. And like, I think like I can take any footage and make it my own style. And I just brought it down to the bad credit. Like, yeah, we did the cinematography for it, but it all comes down to the edit, the final edit. That's what everyone will see, the gala screening. And I think I'll feel better and sleep better knowing that I'm the editor. and I, at the end of the day, have the final say since I'm the writer and stuff. So I changed like last week, and I kind of changed everything. I was gonna pick Grinder as my director, but I'm probably not gonna put this in. But like, yeah, everything just changed after that because editing is a fucking big role. Like it's one of the biggest roles out there. So yeah.
Yeah, I just want to say like Sandy, Jason, and Mia, like they all came up to me and they wanted me to like editor and director and DOP at the same time, but I said no because I don't know. I just feel bad for the other students, you know.
Yeah, you can't just do everything, man. You gotta let other people do other things. Yeah.
Fuck,
I heard Jason also came up to you and asked and said, "Hey, can you be like my director and editor? Like, we won't tell anyone. We'll give you a fake credit." Yeah.
I actually like wrote his story. Like,
oh shit! Really?
Yeah, and then he was the one that pitched it. So,
dude, wait, that was you? You ghostwrote? Ah,
yeah.
That's why it was so good. That makes
right,
sense.
Yeah. He actually paid me. So,
we love Jason.
Yeah.
He's our set rep. Don't fire us, please.
Yeah, please. We're gonna need him again for the next term.
He's our boss.
I was kidding, by the way. Nobody came up to me.
Oh, I'm sorry, buddy.
Fuck.
I'm sad.
What would you want to do though, Dom? Like, have you kind of like picked out like a role that you think you might do? Because unfortunately, director's kind of tight right now.
It is very tight.
But like, even like, did you want, if someone came up to you and said, "Hey, do you want to edit?" Would you do it? Or if someone came up to you and said, "Hey, if you want to do DOP, would you do it?" Like,
yeah, absolutely. I'd do either of those roles. I mean, I love editing. I love creating beautiful visual things. But yeah, I mean, I'm down for anything.
Is there anything like specific though? Like even just like
like what I really want to do?
Yeah.
You know what? Like I don't really have any. I'm trying to think here. Yeah, I mean, I'd love to direct. I'd love to DOP, but there's nothing I'd really, really want to do more than the other.
That's good. I mean,
yeah,
that's fair. Yeah,
that's not bad. I mean,
yeah. At the moment, I mean, like down the line, like obviously after school, like I create my own content. I'm the director, DOP, camera operator, everything.
Producer,
right?
writer,
editor. So like, it just all kind of like goes hand in hand with what I do. So that's why I'm down for anything.
Hey, babe. This is the Brent I was telling you about.
Yeah, I get that. I had a similar idea or a similar experience with the TriCaster, I'd say.
Right, yeah.
Just like, it may come as a shock to some people who've seen me, but I'm a bit of a geek. A little nerdy.
I would not get that from your combo breaker backpack. I would never imagine.
No, it's impossible to tell. Not even if I don't have like the combo breaker stuff. It's like, oh, it's the like overweight pale guy. I wonder what he's into.
With a little bit of like scruffy facial hair and the glasses. Yeah,
it's a little unfortunate. Like the face to neck ratio I have with my beard's not great. Mm-hmm. Like there's not a whole lot of face that goes on. So like, there's a bit of a neck beard going on, which is not great. But I run into a tough situation because I'm sure I'm a balding guy, and I run into a tough situation where like I don't grow good enough facial hair, or to like go completely bald, because like either I shave it and I look like a skinhead, which is bad. Or I don't shave it and I look like a soy jack, and it's like it's lose. It's
a lose. I'm so sorry, man.
It's a rough, like you know the exact soy jack I'm talking about.
Unfortunately, yeah, I hate to say it, I do.
Yeah, like it's a rough situation. Like you can visualize it in your head. This is an audio format. Close your eyes, you can see it. It's a little rough.
I would never pin that on you because I would never want to do you dirty like that. But yeah, I do kind of see a little bit.
I pin it on myself.
There you go.
It's important to be introspective. I think
I'll say it's almost like you have like a reverse goatee in a way, because it does like I kind of have that. Well, I don't necessarily have that problem too, but I just can't grow a lot of facial hair, like kind of period. But then it's like same thing, like on the chin, like it's like kind of like it's coming up in the neck, it's getting a little bit on the cheeks, but then on the chin itself is just completely
like great sideburns.
Yeah,
then it's like it just falls apart. And it's like okay.
And I'll need a board. I got you, man.
Your life of Walter Mitty, like. At that time, I'd always just be trying to capture like literally everything, you know. And after watching that movie once, I was like, maybe sometimes I don't need to, you know. And it was also just like a really just nice movie that I don't know, I resonated with it. And it was just like it was fun, and I don't know, it was just it was such an interesting movie, and I thought that movie was so underrated, I think, for a really long time. The first time I watched it, I'm not going to say I'm an OG, but I was an OG appreciator of that movie. That movie was so good, and every single time I watch it again, before I was like, oh, there's some things wrong with the movie. Like, I understand why people didn't like it. I watch it again and again. There's nothing wrong with the movie. Like, everything is perfect in that movie. It tells exactly the story it wants to tell, and it's perfect. Yeah, I love that movie. Sean Penn in that movie is also really great. Yeah, it's just like a feel-good story. In the end, he's a better person.
Yeah, right. I think it's also like partially his ambition too, which I maybe didn't like kind of recognize or connect with at first. That he has this. The reason why he's partially daydreaming is because he has all this ambition but nowhere to put it into.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then he goes to look for Sean Penn's character, the photographer, and he's finally to like actualize that and realize it.
Yeah, like it shows like that was one of the things actually that I like on my first watches of the movie. I was like, why does he like care so much? But they have that scene in like the Burger King in Iceland, and it like explains basically why he never really got to this point where he wants to be an adventurer, right? And it explains that like he had trauma from his dad, right? And so he basically just stopped being adventurous, and he stopped doing things that he loved, and he ended up just working a dead-end job. And Sean Penn's character was basically like the catalyst for him to do better and do what he actually wanted in life. I just love characters who are in like maybe they're like their early 40s or 50s and stuff like that, where like they aren't where they want to be in life.
Right.
That's like one of my favorite, I guess, character ideations and stuff like that. Like, and then eventually them either getting there or not getting there. Man, it's like, oh.
And they find some kind of peace like within them that makes it better. Yeah. That's something I've always thought about too. Was that kind of character journey seems to be focused on high school and like students, people who are younger, right? But movies aren't real life, you know. Sometimes that doesn't always happen to somebody at that age. It does happen later on, but because that story is the one that gets.
I feel like it's more
told.
Crushing if it is later on.
Sure,
like, it adds so much more of like a stakes,
right?
Because when you're young, you have all this time, whereas when you get older, it's like, man, you don't have much time left to do the things that you want to do. So that's going actually back. Have you seen Ad Astra?
No, I haven't.
So I watched that movie in theaters when it came out. It's that Brad Pitt space movie with what's his name?
I don't remember. I forgot that was a really recent movie too, and I was gonna see it, but then I heard some things, and I was like, maybe I won't.
Yeah, it's not like I understand why people don't like it, because like I think like technologically sci-fi stuff is like, oh, it wouldn't make sense. But I think on like a base layer, the story, oh my goodness, that is such an underrated movie. Like he's like basically a dude who feels nothing, and he's going to try and find his father. And his father is this guy who's on the edge of the solar system trying to find life out there. He's not trying to find it within the solar system with those he loves. He's just trying to find it out there, find some meaning in life. And Brad Pitt's character up to that point has been, his whole thing is that he's like, he never goes above like, I think like 60 or 70 beats per minute in any situation for like heart rate. And like as the movie goes on and he gets further and further out, like Mars, Jupiter, whatever, and he's trying to find his dad, he starts getting more emotional, and then that ends up making it to the climax where he finds out that his dad doesn't love him, and that he has to give it up. And I don't know, I just thought that was like an insanely, really, really good movie, but people don't like it. I'm just like, okay, I feel like maybe I'm doing something wrong. Maybe I don't know. It was also a really beautiful movie. Like, it is really, really good.
It looked really nice. That's partially why I wanted to see it. Yeah.
I think that might have actually turned people off of the movie and its story was that it looked really cool, right? But, like some of like the continuity elements just didn't really line up, which I understand. But then they only saw the cinematography as like, oh, this is just like filler, basically.
Right, yeah.
This is just like,
this isn't substance to the story.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. How does this connect
There
back?
is substance to the story, too.
Right.
But they just, I guess, couldn't see that over the continuity. Which I guess I understand, but also, like, I care so much more about story than continuity. I don't really care. It's sci-fi. Who cares, man? Like, I don't know. They have like a moon buggy scene where there's like space pirates shooting at them and stuff. And I'm like, this is so cool. This is like the coolest thing ever.
Like what? Yeah. And this story about emotional damage by a father figure? Yeah, that sounds sweet. Let's have space pirates in it. Why not?
Yeah.
Throw something else in the mix.
Enjoy one large 3-topping pizza, slushies, and soft drinks, all for.
This was a great discussion.
Yeah.
I had fun.
Yeah, this was good.
Yeah.
I'm glad we waited a day to record this one.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. Me too. Yeah, no, good wrap up on the end of the year. Congrats to all. I had fun despite a lot of the. I think term 3 was I think harder in a way than term 2. Like I thought. I don't know. Like I knew going in. I remember saying this too. I knew going in that it was going to be more challenging, and it was. Just not in the way that I expected, I think. But I still learned a lot, and I still had a lot of fun. I think this was one of the most eventful last 3 months of my life. It's been crazy. It's been crazy, and I can't believe we're almost done. So by the time we go back to term 4. It's gonna be the beginning of the end, essentially.
Mm-hmm. This is the end of the beginning.
This is the end of the. Sure.
Yeah.
Technically, the end of term 1 would have been the end of the beginning. This is like, I don't know.
The end of the. This is what's the story structure? So this this isn't quite a midpoint break.
This is the end of the second act, perhaps.
Right.
This is the end of the second act.
Right.
So term 2 and 3 combined.
That should have been the name of this podcast instead. It should have been second act run.
Second act run?
Second. No?
I like no. I like
Okay.
second year run.
Okay, well,
second year run makes sense.
Barely.
Second year.
Yeah, you know. Yeah, all right.
You didn't do it in first year.
No, yeah.
There was no first year run.
Yeah, exactly.
Where's first year run? Where's third year run?
We should get the first years in our program to get on that.
Oh, tell them, force them to make first year run.
Yeah,
it's too late now.
Listen, I'm getting a little lazy in my podcast.
Exactly. Who's going to take on second year run next year for them?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Lives and dies with us.
Yeah. I mean, it's become a way for all of us, like I said, to kind of tune in and just have get to record our opinions and our thoughts down, and a way for the instructors to also have. I guess the admiration comes from the fact that, like, I feel like I don't know what a lot of the second years did last year and what other years have entailed, but like I feel like this is actually uncommon for just like one of the students to be like, you know what, let's make a podcast for all the students. And the fact that the instructors are kind of like in on it and do listen in and are curious, and it's kind of like a part of it. That's just really unique, I think, to our year, and I appreciate that. So yeah. So yeah.
Okay, well, it's been almost 2 hours now.
Okay.
So thank you for coming on the podcast.
Here's the term 4.
Here's the term 4. And thank you for listening to another episode of the Second Year Run podcast. I hope you have a good rest of the day, wherever that might be.
We're so back.
Second year run.